a little quick review recap for Zatima episodes number 9 and 10, child. Number 9 was the dinner diagnosis, okay, and number 10 was the good with the bad. Child, what did we get? We got what we was expecting to get, I think, okay. I definitely got what I was expecting to get. Of course, this dinner that Fatima planned went terribly wrong. You know, her little intervention that she thought she was tricking Zach into backfired on her. Bryce and Angela finally admit what we all already knew. Did we really need this dinner? Did we really need Dr. Reed to step in and tell them what we already knew, child? I could have told them that for free, all right? We didn't even have to have a dinner cooked. We also got Zach mama again, and I was expecting to see her before this season ended. You know, of course, her and his raggedy behind brother still came in with they, you know, nasty little antics or whatever the case may be. And we got Connie coming back into the mix. And was I bugging, or did I hear that Connie be out here using some stuff too? Okay, she owned that stuff out here in these streets too. I think that's what I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, we still had Nate and Tony being they freaking silly behind selves. And we basically had, of course, Zach go to this dinner with Fatima mother. And that went as we expected it to, child, where they thought they was going to read Zach down, interrogate him, and he was not going to, you know, basically feel like he was being bombarded, you know, judged or whatever the case may be for his past. And he wasn't going to go off and have the only attitude that we knew he would have on top of everything else that he was dealing with. So let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. You know how we do. Take it from the top, child, okay, and break it on down. Now, like I said, you guys, I'm not going to get too deep into this. Just my first overall thoughts of these last 2 episodes we got. Of course, you know, check out me and just EJ. Just call me EJ. On Mondays, we will be doing a full live discussion on both these episodes, and check out any of the other live discussions that you may have missed, okay? So we start out with this daggone dinner, child, okay? And it was so obvious, like, y'all didn't even try to play it on off. Y'all didn't have this game pack, you know, this game plan down pack at all. We supposed to already know Dr. Reed. Dr. Reed is supposedly a friend of Angela's that she wanted to invite to the dinner. So please explain to me, why would we be introducing him? Why would he be getting introduced to everybody as he come? Now, him and Zach actually got off to a good start. When he first walked up, Zach is asking him about his vehicle. You know, they get into whether he plays basketball or not, the fact that he's tall. He's like, you know, so you the one that they've been waiting on, you know, you want to come on and come in. And he's like, you know, after you. So when they get in there, like I said, we doing introductions to people that you already was supposed to know. So now Zach already looking funny, and he's like, yo, they don't even know these damn people. And Zach is basically picking up and looking funny through the whole daggone dinner, saying, what's going on? What's the truth? Tell me now, because this dude been sitting here asking me questions about my whole freaking life the whole dinner. He not telling us nothing about him, but he's steadily asking whether Bryce and, you know, Zach work together, how they know each other. He asking Angela and Bryce questions about him. So now we get down to the ugly truth, you know. Of course, Zach didn't want to be bothered no more. He's basically like, I'm tired, I want to go to bed. And Fatima's still trying to get him to sit there. Now, you know, Angela, on the other hand, is like, no, I'm ready to talk. If he don't want to talk, then you can start with us, because, you know, Bryce, you got some issues too. And of course, rightfully so, Zach calls out Fatima's like, so, first of all, you went behind my back. You brought this daggone doctor in here to analyze me. Isn't that supposed to be against the law? Isn't there something, you know what I mean, where you can basically do something like that? You don't see anything wrong with that. And second of all, you acting like I'm the only person at this table that just, you know, basically even is going through anything or has any problems. You know, you acting like you don't have no issues. And of course, here we go again. Fatima's like, no, of course I got issues. I'm not saying that, but I've been very concerned, you know, and worried about you. So, you know, Angela says she want to go ahead and talk about the fact, let's get it all out. Let's stop playing games and ignoring the fact that you try to put your damn tongue down Zach's throat. And of course, she told, you know, he told Fatima and she told me. And I'm wondering, when the heck was I going to hear it from you? And of course, Bryce is still saying that he misread, you know, what Zach said or whatever the case may be, right? Zach told him that he wish he could put his brain in Fatima's body. And so Zach is like, I didn't mean it in that way. And basically, Doc was like, well, Zach, I can tell from your relationships and the fact that you didn't have a father in your life that you interpreted what Bryce was saying one way, and then Bryce in turn interpreted what you were saying in a different way. Y'all just had different opinions of the same situation. Now, Bryce also says, listen, I'm into some kinky things. I like doing threesomes, and I was thinking that maybe all four of us could get together. And I laughed when Zach was like, excuse me? Like, hell to the no, okay? Me and Fatima only do each other, and right now we ain't even doing that. And Fatima was like, right, okay? And right again, she agreed with both things, and, Zach kind of gave her the side eye. And so it was funny to me that Bryce said that, because at one point I did feel like that was the avenue that we was trying to go down with Jake. Of course, I always said from the beginning that Bryce was giving me Jake number 2, all right? Now, at the end of the day, Zach is like, no, go on. He's here. Let the doctor do his thing. Then that's what you brought him in for. And of course, Angela is saying, all right, then we want to go first. And Bryce was acting so damn clueless, talking about some, what are you talking about? What is going on here? I'm very confused. Now, Bryce also makes the mistake of saying, I like what I like. I'm into what I'm into. And I really have a fetish for big women. Now, that is a thing too. A lot of men out here do have their fetishes, whether it be feet, big women, or whatever. And of course, Angela basically got very offended by that. And he was like, I didn't mean it in that way. I don't want you to take offense to it. That's not what I was trying to say. Please don't take it in the wrong way. But it's like, what way am I supposed to take that, right? Bryce, again, clueless, child, clueless. If I only had a brain, right? If you look Bryce up and look rather clueless up, you're going to see daggone Bryce's picture. So, he was like saying he was planning to talk about it. So she was like, wait, so you like it swinging with other couples? And he basically was like, yeah, that's my thing. I like being with guys and girls. All right, well, then you need to find somebody that's into the same things that you are into, Of course, that's when he reveals that he wanted it to be all four. And everybody's kind of shocked at the table, like, what? So she was like, am I the person you want to be with? Like, can you be with one person? He says, yeah, but that's when he says that the fetish is for plus size women. So even Zach and Fatima had to look at each other and laugh with that part and just basically, again, look in disbelief and, look shocked. So she was like, please, he said he was going to get out of here and drive. But she said, no, he had too much to drink. And then, Fatima was saying, actually, I'm going to go ahead and drive you home or whatever. I think, all of y'all, I should say, been doing a little bit of drinking. Remember, Bryce was over here mixing wine and tequila. But Doc does give his breakdown before he leaves, saying everybody at the table has issues. Of course they do, okay? And he talks about, them reading into things in the wrong way, different way than somebody might have actually mean it, and them talking at each other, right? Yeah, we all talking and we having conversations and we saying things, but nobody is actually listening and comprehending what the other person is saying. We're talking at each other instead of to each other, and a lot of people do that in real life, right? He talked about the bond and the connection with Mel's, and of course with Bryce, with Zach not having his father there, but probably having relationships with Mel friends, Mel cousins, and things of that nature. And they looked at, the same situation in different ways, and that he doesn't know Bryce, full background or whatever, but he's pretty sure some things in his background that's basically making him feel the way, that he feels or whatever. He was like, I will say that before I get up out of here. And he said to Angela, even though she's a beautiful woman, she dressed well, she wear the makeup, she's all into the designer things and the hair and all of that kind of stuff. That probably stems from other things too, and is more so that she's hiding her insecurities. Now, I wanted him to go ahead and read Fatima down, but for some reason he didn't. He mainly stuck to Angela, Bryce and Zach. And so he was basically saying, but, if you want to fit all these pieces together, whatever the case may be, you got to start doing it from the beginning. And you definitely got to have the conversations and say how you actually feel. Now, Fatima says, I say how I feel all the time. But do you, girl? Zach had to call her out and say, no, you don't. She was like, yes, I do. I take time to process it before I say it, but I do say it. He said, yeah, but that's the problem. You taking time to process it. You got to say how you feel in real time. I always gotta wait or whatever. And she was like, well, if I said how I feel in real time, then I probably wouldn't be here. And he was like, yeah, because you run. That's another thing you do. So he was like, saying just let him finish. And the doctor said, he is finished. He was like, I have some bad news. If any of y'all want to make it, you are going to have to put your child voice aside and let the adult, that's within talk if you are willing to do that or whatever, right? And he said, I had my fill for tonight and I'm gonna leave, good night. So he basically got up and left. Now, at this point, Bryce and Angela say they gonna get ready to get up out of here or whatever. And, it's just Fatima and Zach there. It's real awkward now. Of course, he's pissed off as I thought he would be. And he gets a call from Tony that's telling him that he should come on out and play basketball with him. And he's like, all right, whatever. So now Fatima goes to take the trash out. And he's like, I could have did that. And she was like, well, you saw it there and you wasn't thinking about doing it all this time. So, you knew it needed to be done. And he was like, all right, Fatima, whatever. I'm not going to argue with you. And she's like, exactly, So she go ahead and leave and go out and take the trash out. She calls Angela, but Angela tells her that she's still talking to Bryce. So she was like, give me a minute, I'ma call you, right? Now I could swear she said he's about to leave. And then they have this conversation where she basically just ends up, long story short, asking back for her keys. He says he feels bad for saying the whole fetish thing. He didn't mean it in that way or whatever the case may be. He really did care for her and he wanted it to work out. And she says what she should have said all along, this isn't gonna work for me, it's just not gonna work. We ain't fitting together, right? You with the fetish thing, you with the things you're into. I'm into a lot of things, but I'm not into that. Now she says if he just wanted to be with her with another guy, then she probably would have went for that, but she wouldn't have wanted him, touching on the guy butt or whatever. So as far as I knew, to my understanding, unless I missed something, he was supposed to be leaving. He then, gave her the keys and was like, oh, I had a feeling that was coming and that she was going to ask me for them back or whatever the case may be. And that was supposed to be the end of that. So now, of course, after Zach leaves to go play ball, he has said he was going to go play ball. He was like, can I go play ball now? He didn't want to talk to Fatima. As soon as he leaves, she calls her back up and she's saying, how did it go with Bryce? She said, well, I got my keys back from him. And she's asking Fatima what's going on with Zach. And she says, well, he went to play ball. I was confused as to why when she said he went to play ball. And Angela was like, oh, this time of night, Fatima didn't just say, yeah, that's his usual. He's always went and play ball at night. He's done it on this show and he's done it on Sisters too. It was not something that was out of the norm. Oh, are you sure? She was like, I don't know, girl, but if he come back smelling funny or whatever the case may be, or, he took a shower, then I know something would have been up. And Angela says, you don't trust him. So I was confused with that, right? Now, Zach goes and he basically beats them at the game. Of course, we got Nate saying he should apologize to him. He's telling Nate, nah, I shouldn't apologize to you. I told you I was going to kick your damn behind because you deserved it. And we, of course, start having jokes and snapping on Tony saying, look, that he looks like he's a mixture of being a child of Michael Jordan and Shaq, all right? And they saying how it's only one game that he won, Of course, they also saying, yeah, he needs to get with Connie and so on and so forth, still singing that song. So Zach was about to get in bed with Fatima, and she's basically like, what are you doing? Go take a damn shower. And he's like, come on, do your usual. You want to smell me and make sure, I'm saying, everything was right. And she was like, why would I want to do that? She was like, if you've been out playing basketball, you can't sit here and be damn sweaty and then getting in the bed. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go do that. But we get a bang, 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 bang on the door. And it's like, who the hell is banging on the door like that? The damn police. So he tells her as the man of the house, he's going to go down and check it out. And she's saying, hell to the no, I'm going to go down. And he was like, that's your problem. You've been single for so long that when there's a man trying to do something, you won't even let him be a man. You wouldn't even call me, who's supposed to be your man, to come fix your damn tire when it was messed up. You rather sit there and try to have a stranger do it. So he was like, just stay here. Of course, she doesn't listen, and they both go down, and who we think is at the door, but his mama and his brother. His brother's actually the first one to walk in, and he gonna talk about do something with your mother. I can't do nothing with her. So we go into episode 10 with Zach all upset, seeing his mother bruised up and bleeding. They trying to get her to the couch. The brother just sitting there looking at him like he got 3 damn heads, not trying to help with nothing, and basically just gets up and walks out the door and was like, you could take care of her now, and you could let her stay stay here now. Excuse me? Oh, no, sir. No, we not going to do that. But, of course, Zach is just focused on his mom, regardless of what's happened between them. He still care. Mind you, she's over here talking about, oh, you the bitch, calling Fatima all out her daggone name and saying how she always preferred, Karen, and she heard about her, and Fatima's the one that took all his money. Jeremiah told her about her, and I'm like, well, he got it wrong, first of all, because Fatima ain't take nothing from damn Zach. So they trying to get her some coffee. They trying to wake her up. They trying to tell her they gonna take her to the hospital. She's saying, nah, we ain't going to no damn hospital, okay? Hell no, I won't go. And so, of course, Fatima says she gonna get dressed and she's gonna go with him there. And he keeps telling her over and over, like, nah, you ain't gotta do that. It's all good. I got it. He was like, you got work. But she's like, nah, I'm gonna be there with you. I'm going. So when they get to the hospital, per Zach, right? Anytime mama, it comes up in the mix, he all of a sudden is basically saying, I got this. I don't need you to be here. I told you not to come. He was like, she ain't do shit for me my whole life. Of course, he going back to that. And she was like, well, Zach, she has a problem. He's like, I know that. She was like, well, now you're in a better position and you got the money where you could go ahead and help her. And when she's trying to comfort him, he's like, man, just go, just go. And she's like, I'm just trying to help. And he was like, well, I told you I didn't need no help. He was like, everything he do is always getting messed up, and now he got to deal with stuff from everybody. And she was like, Zach, she needs you. And he was like, nah, she just basically want my money. She said, well, look at it this way. Now you're in a position where you got the money to be able to help her. And he says she has to want help first, which is true. So she was like, okay, well, I'm here with you or whatever. And when she sobers up, we could try to talk to her. He was like, oh, you don't get it. She don't give a damn about nobody. She ain't gonna do it. He was like, you keep talking to me. I didn't ask you to come. So basically just being very mean and, pushing Fatima away because of the way that he's feeling about his mom. So she gets upset. She walks over and calls the doctor to vent to him. At first when she says she's at the hospital, because he's like, I figured it would go wrong and, he would be upset that I came. So when she's bringing up she's at the hospital, he's like, wait, it's like that? Like, what I'm saying? He done hurt you? And she's like, no, nothing like that. She gives him the breakdown of the situation with his mom. And of course, Zach had also told her that he was embarrassed. So as soon as she's giving him that info, he's like, well, he's probably embarrassed. She was like, wow, yeah, that's exactly what he just said. So he was like, send me the information and I'll come there and talk to him. And she was like, I don't know if that's necessarily, a good idea. But he says he's going to do it anyway. And she was like, thank you. Now, this is why I brought up the whole thing with Bryce. Because I could have sworn Bryce was supposed to have, been leaving and gave her back the key. But apparently she said that he was too drunk to, drive home. So it's fine. She did let him stay. He was still trying to say, so it's really over between us. You really can't see, giving me another chance or whatever the case may be. Maybe you slept on it and maybe with some time, you would be okay. It was funny to me, too, that he judged her for bringing the guy home. Like, oh, I knew you was into different things or whatever, but you're judging me about being open, but you brung some guy home to sleep with him or whatever the case may be. But nonetheless, she said she was destined to have a hot girl summer. I said, here we go again with the hot girl summers, child. Okay, that was what Danny was on for God knows how long in the last damn season of Sisters. But, he was saying he totally blew it, and she was like, yeah, you blew it big time. We're done. There's nothing else to talk about. But we can be friends. So I said, okay, whatever. We had to go through all of that just for them to get there. At this point, Fatima's calling her, so she's like, let me go ahead and take this call. So she get on the phone with Fatima, and she's saying she at the hospital. She basically gives the breakdown to her as well. And, at this point, she was like, girl, this just don't sound good. And Fatima was like, I know. And she was asking her what she was going to do. She was like, I don't know. But Dr. Reed said he's going to talk to him. And she was like, well, do you want me to come there? She like, hell to the no, okay? It's already crazy enough. If you come too, then forget about it. So, she just basically says she will call her later and give her an update. And she's just like, whoa. So now the doctor come give Zach an update, and she says, we see the track marks on her arm. She's claiming she fell down the steps. To be honest, the way those bruises was, I wasn't believing the whole she fell down the steps thing. Of course, they give him, a card for a treatment center. He's asking when he could take her home. She said, they want to wait a few hours, and she'll come back and let him know when she's discharged. So he's like, okay. So now Dr. Reed does show up, and it actually goes better than I was expecting. It actually seemed like he was getting through to Zach for 1 minute there. Zach started getting emotional and crying, saying the first time that he got disappointment and, felt like he was abandoned and different things of that nature was basically his from when he was 7 years old, and that he basically felt all alone and felt like things would constantly go wrong his whole life. And so Doc's assessment overall was basically like, because the first person that ever hurt you was your mother, when you're dealing with women, it comes out with that. Either you're, having sex with them all different times, making different bad decisions. When you make the bad decisions, you're trying to figure out why you're making them, and you really feel like it's not going to go good for long anyway, so why should I care? And it's kind of like self-destructing. At first, Zach was saying he don't do that, but then he was like, well, if it's something that I do, and I'm not realizing that I do it, then how can I stop it? And he was telling him some stuff for that. But child, of course, the shit hit the fan, okay, as we would have expected to, when he all of a sudden brought up the fact that fight he had in the elevator with Paul was basically the same thing. And he was like, it wasn't your fault, it wasn't Paul's fault, it wasn't Fatima's fault. So he's like, well, how do you even know about the fight in the elevator? He's like, well, one, because I actually do know Paul. I have helped him, or whatever the case may be. He was a client of mine. And also, meeting Fatima, having her tell me, and then seeing the video. And so, of course, Zach hits the roof. He gets very disrespectful, very ignorant, very, dangerous. Okay, we just gonna call it that. Starts calling the doctor out his name, telling him to get up out of here, and telling him how he hood and all of this different kind of stuff. So Doc is like, all right, okay, I said my piece and I'm gonna go. He was like, but Fatima's a very good woman and she does care about you. And he basically said he was gonna be real, and that he felt like he should know that, and he doesn't believe in lying to his clients or whatever. So Zach was basically like, yeah, well, I'm not one of your clients, so you ain't got to worry about that. And he kicks him out, and then that ends up going completely wrong. So now we got his friends showing up to the daggone clinic, right? Oh, of course, you knew we would come through, Nate and Tony. We was going to check on you. Jeremiah told us what happened. We had to make sure you good. And he's pretty okay with them. Then old Connie find her way there. Oh, yeah, I heard about it. We was all actually together playing cards. And we remember when Miss Gladys was this way, that way, the other way, and the other way. And Zach is like, okay, y'all ain't got to keep sitting here bringing up how she used to be, because we not going to act like it was just good times and it wasn't no bad times in between. Of course, Connie talking about the times when, he would come and stay with her. And then he was like, yeah, let's not forget about the part of her always smoking crack and all the messed up stuff she did to us. And they like, yeah, man, we remember. And then, of course, that's when she's bringing up the fact that he used to spend, nights at her house. So he just told them, like, seriously, I'm good. Y'all could go. Now, here go Connie to Nate and Tony. Well, y'all get on up out of here. I'm going to stay with him. I'm good. I got him. He like, you sure, man? So he says, yeah, why the hell they want to do that, baby? Because as soon as they left, here goes Zach leaning on damn Connie. They hugged up, and Fatima shows up, and she's like, what the hell is this? She done took her shower and changed for work, I guess, and was stopping back by to check up on him. And so basically Zach gonna suck his damn teeth. I thought that was very disrespectful. And then, they like, who the F is this? And who the F is this? Connie saying that to Fatima saying that, to Connie. And so he's like, hey, cut it out. This is Fatima, whatever the case may be. He was like, Fatima, Connie, Fatima, and Connie talking about the little auntie. And, Fatima was like, yes, the auntie. So he was like, can we not do this? This is not about y'all. My mom is sick right now. You know what I'm saying? I really don't want to be bothered. So she was like, oh, okay. So yeah, Connie. And then Connie's like, yeah, I'm Connie. She was like, what did you tell her about me? What exactly did you say? So she was like, well, I'm sorry. I'm just a girl from around the way. You know what I'm saying? I used to be his friend back in the days. And Fatima's basically like, yeah, I know. So she's like, since you got your little friend here and you don't want me here, it's cool. Matter of fact, yeah, she said, I'm just going to leave and go to my parents' house, because remember, they were supposed to be meeting up for the parents' dinner. So Connie was like, oh, she big mad. And of course, Zach is like, why you gotta play so much? Now, at this point, the doctor comes out and is like, are y'all back? And he was like, back? What are you talking about back? We never left. She like, yeah, your mom done left a couple hours ago. She said she was gonna tell you that she was getting discharged. So meantime, he's sitting here worrying and stressing for nothing because mama done got the heck up out of here. Now, Fatima's at her parents' house and she's saying how Zach probably ain't coming. Let's just go ahead and get this dinner started. But he do actually come. He done went, changed his clothes and came through. Her father's like, oh, that's probably here now. Of course, mama don't waste no time. Oh, I'm sure you remember me. And she was like, we have looked into you. And the father was saying she hasn't told them much about him. And Zach is like, she hasn't. He's like, no. Her mother talking about I had to do something digging and I didn't find nothing good. And so Zach is basically like, oh, okay, well, what y'all want to know? Yeah, I went to jail, whatever, I did my time. I actually have went for armed robbery. So he like, I'm looking around here and y'all look like y'all got some things that could be stolen or whatever the case may be. Be careful with that because now I know where y'all live. Now he's being sarcastic and he's being defensive. The father's saying, you ain't got to be rude and you ain't got to get defensive and all of that. Of course, Fatima's telling him stop and basically being like, Zach, and he's like, what? He was like, did you tell them my mother was a crackhead too? Did they find that in their research? So her father just saying he ain't got to be hostile. And he was like, I'm not being hostile. I'm just being honest and speaking my mind. You know what I'm saying? He was like, it's a trick, a trick your daughter taught me ever since she basically tried to trick me into seeing a therapist without even letting me know about it. Getting me a therapist from the guy that was hollering at you at work. So she was like, can we not talk about this here? And that's not what I was trying to do. That's, what I'm saying, basically not where I was going with this. I was trying to help. And then he was like, well, I see you, invited me here, whatever, just so I could be on display and so everybody could see that I had it hard. He was like, yeah, everybody had it hard except for y'all. It's real nice here. He was like, every day I get reminded that I don't deserve her or whatever. And she reminds me now. Y'all reminded me. Her friends remind me. Everybody want me to know. You invited me here to basically prove it to me, right? So he was like, at the end of the day, it's cool. So he was like, I might as well just let it all go. So he basically was saying that, he had made a mistake and the only stupid thing he ever did. And Fatima was like, watch it. Don't say something you're going to regret. And he was like basically was thinking that anybody like her could love him. And he went ahead and walked out. And of course, her mother is basically saying like, kind of I told you so type of thing or whatever, right? And then Fatima's like, she want to go ahead and get up out of there. Her father was just basically telling her he loved her. He was like, do you love him? And she was saying she do. But Fatima mother was basically like, look, I loved your father too, and I used to try to do everything I could under the sun, but sometimes people like that, you just can't, love, and you can't be with them in that way or whatever. And Fatima went ahead and left, right? And then we hear the father saying to the mother, like, we gonna have to tell her sooner or later the time is coming. So I'm wondering what the heck was that about. Now we see Tony and Nate playing freaking cards, right? Connie was there. Zach come up. He asking, did they see his mom? They like, yeah. Then he telling Connie he want to speak to her. So she was like, all right, shoot. And he was like, nah, let's go upstairs. So this is the part where I'm saying, did I hear them say, oh, dag, yeah, they going upstairs. He probably definitely going to hit it. And they going to talk about something, she be using too, right? And then they going to say, I might have messed up with this. And Tony says, yeah, you did. Like, huh? Child, like I said, with friends like these, why do we need enemies? So we got Fatima talking to Angela and basically saying that she knows she messed up with this, but she didn't know what else to do, how she's supposed to help him. She was like, how am I supposed to stay in this if it continues, the same way? She just don't know what to do right now. And, Angela over here talking about it always starts out good and then it gets messed up, and how, she feel like she looking for a needle within needles trying to find a good man. And Fatima was telling her Bryce was a good man, but she was like, yeah, but he was a man that was into other men, which is not my thing. She like, yeah, true. So she was like, don't you mean needle in a haystack? But she was saying that Zach is usually good to her, but when his mom comes around, that's when he gets mean, and it just turns into a whole nother thing or whatever, and he get on that ninja shit, okay? So she was like, well, I guess he's with his mom or whatever the case may be, and just as she's saying that is a knock at the door. Now his mom done decided to come to be like, she needs some money, and she know that Zach was over there at Connie house or whatever the case may be, and she figured he was back now, but he must still be there. She's like, can I borrow $50? And Fatima was telling her she don't keep no money in the house. So she's like, I think you should get ready to go. And then here comes Zach walking in, asking her what she doing there. So she like, oh, well, I'm just going to tell it, because she get mad that they both saying they don't got no money. She was like, you was at Connie house for hours or whatever, because he was like, what are you talking about? She like, yeah, I'm going to tell it. He was like, Ma, just go home. I'll call you later. She was like, I know you was at Connie house, and I know y'all was in there screwing, okay? I know you was there for hours. And she was like, are you going to give me some money or not? And Zach was like, go home. So now when she walk out, Fatima just looking at him or whatever with her arms folded, and she was like, Zach, what is she talking about? And then and she was like, did you screw her? You know what I'm saying? Look at me. And then he just basically still wasn't answering. And she like, oh, okay, we're done. Got it, right? So everybody that was saying they thought Zach and Fatima was going to break up at the end of the season, they was basically right, y'all. So put it in the comments, y'all. What did you think about these 2 episodes, child? What do you rate it? What did you like? What you didn't like? All that good stuff. Put it in the comments. Anything left out, put that in the comments. We will discuss it down there. One thing I will say is that we did not get an answer to whether it was Belinda or, Angela or whoever the heck it was that made the daggone fake account for Fatima. Remember, she has somebody, looking into that. We still don't know what the secret is that her mama got to tell her. And, did Connie sleep with Zach? Did Zach sleep with Connie? And is Connie out in these streets on these damn drugs? Yeah, I don't know. But put it all in the comments. Let's discuss it down there. Again, make sure y'all tune in Monday for me and Just Call Me EJ. Live discussion at 8 o'clock, I think it is. Yeah, 8 p.m., child. Get into it. We'll talk about it more there as well. And make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Give me a wave. Let me know you came by. Put some flames up in the sky. Till next time, y'all. Toodaloo.